rallies are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
Cockpit earlier at about 7 a.m. A group from the Coast Guard.
Welcome to #PHVote 2013 Rap.
Today on Rappler, Typhoon Yolanda, international name Haiyan, leaves a trail of destruction with survivors desperate for help.
Ang panawagan ko lang po, ang pagiging kalmado, pagdarasal, pakikisama, at pakikipagtulungan.
President Aquino declares a state of national calamity. And 14 senators want their pork barrel deleted from the budget. 4 others want the funds realigned.
Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Days before Typhoon Yolanda, international name Haiyan, hit the Philippines, experts warned it was a Category 5 storm and is the most powerful to hit land ever recorded. Local officials braced for the storm, evacuating about 800,000 people. President Aquino addressed the nation the night before it hit, but despite the preparations, it left behind apocalyptic scenes.
When the monster winds left and the water receded, it became clear what the world's strongest storm left behind. Typhoon Yolanda, international name Haiyan, was 3.5 times more powerful than Katrina and cut through the central Philippines on Friday, November 8. For nearly 24 hours, no news came from the Visayas. The typhoon plunged entire provinces into darkness and cut communication lines, making it difficult to confirm how many died and how many are fighting to survive. On Saturday, news started filtering in. Photos and video clips paint a picture of massive devastation. Homes along the typhoon's path are reduced to rubble. Overturned cars and parts of buildings litter the streets next to bodies, some covered with blankets. In eastern Samar, the towns of Giporlos and Giwan are in ruins. With an estimated 95% of the towns damaged, there are no clear estimates of casualties or survivors.
I could definitely say all 95 to 98% ng mga household destroyed, literally destroyed, and everything for our LGU to operate is destroyed.
Lahat ng daanan, nakaharang na yung mga puno, mga poste ng kuryente, walang nagki-clearing except for some towns. But Giwan itself, parang total chaos, walang sense of authority, walang gobyerno na, kasi apparently even sabi ng mga local officials doon, sila din biktima, so hindi na rin nila matulungan yung mga ibang tao. And then ang daming sugatan, may mga patay, ang daming mga structures na gumuho, may mga lugar pa na hindi na be-verify, na may mga maaring may patay rin.
In the province of Leyte alone, provincial officials say they fear up to 10,000 people are killed. Many drowned from the massive storm surges that flooded the city. With no food and little water, survivors are pushed to their limits. On the streets, it's every man for himself. Dazed survivors dig under the debris, hunting for food among the bodies of the dead. This once serene coastal city descends into anarchy. Mobs break into shops and homes, looting and fighting for supplies. Government officials look just as dazed and confused as the residents. They don't know where or how to begin. With some communication lines restored, survivors ask aid workers to pass on their messages. Tell our relatives we are alive. Tell the government we need help.
Days after the disaster, aid is trickling in slowly. It's not enough for people in need of food, water, and medicine. There's not enough medicine to treat the wounded. One nurse says the pharmacy in her hospital was either swept away by storm surges or ransacked by looters in the city. In Ormoc, the main highway leading to the city is still not passable. Relief goods can only be brought by helicopter or boat. Residents say the damage is worse than the 1991 flash flood in the city that killed at least 8,000 people. Some communication lines are restored in this wide area, but they remain unreliable. In the province of Samar, a local official says 300 people are confirmed dead in the small town of Basi. At least 2,000 others are missing there and in other Samar towns. Survivors hand out letters to passers-by and to reporters, asking them to tell their families they are alive. Worried Filipinos also turn to social media to get news about their relatives. On Saturday, the Social Welfare Department offered free satellite internet service in Tacloban City. Free calling stations are now open in some areas for public use. Telecommunication companies Globe and Smart say they need a minimum of 2 to 3 days before they could reconnect the heavily devastated areas in the Visayas. On Monday, the airports in Rojas, Caticlan, Legazpi, Iloilo, Romblon, Surigao, Calibo, Masbate, Dumaguete, and Busuanga resume operations, but the airport in Tacloban City is only partially opened because of the severe damage. Dealing with the aftermath is turning out to be nearly as tough as dealing with the typhoon itself. Survivors are desperate for aid as authorities struggle to cope with the aftermath of this disaster. The government says it will tap savings and the President's Social Fund for the relief and rehabilitation efforts in the provinces battered by the typhoon. The Social Welfare Department says more than 2.1 million families, or more than 9 million people, are affected. The department extends 10.6 million pesos worth of relief assistance to the affected regions. More than 96,000 families are also forced to leave their homes. With news of the widespread devastation, international communities pledged to help look for survivors and to provide relief goods. The U.S. military sends troops for rescue and relief efforts. This is on top of the initial $100,000 fund provided by the U.S. Embassy in Manila. United Nations leader Ban Ki-moon also says humanitarian agencies would, quote, respond rapidly to help people in need, while the European Commission says it would give 3 million euros or $4 million US for relief efforts. British Prime Minister David Cameron extends a message of support and offers an emergency package worth £6 million or $9.6 million. People in the typhoon-ravaged areas need items like rice, mineral water, canned goods, noodles, and biscuits. They also need clothes, blankets, toiletries, and medicines. Rappler is compiling a list of relief efforts for the typhoon victims. Take a look at Rappler's list for more details on how to donate cash and other supplies. 4 days since the super typhoon hit, President Benigno Aquino declares a state of national calamity. In a nationwide address Monday, Aquino also appeals to survivors in the hardest hit areas to cooperate with rescue workers.
Ang panawagan ko lang po, ang pagiging kalmado, pagdarasal, pakikisama, at pakikipagtulungan. Siya ang magpapabangon sa atin mula sa sakunang ito.
In his speech, Aquino also says the government approved 1.1 billion pesos for the quick response funds of the Social Welfare Department and the Public Works Department. The declaration of a state of calamity allows the government to control the prices of basic goods and commodities for affected areas. The government can also access funds for rescue, recovery, relief, and rehabilitation efforts. With relief efforts underway, disaster experts warn Philippine authorities don't repeat the same mistakes after the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. The tsunami left some 275,000 people dead and wreaked havoc across Indonesia, India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. The humanitarian response to the tsunami sparked debate about the size, form, and deployment of assistance. Some observers complained about rivalries between agencies, delivery of inappropriate aid, and difficulty in managing donated money. Paul Arbin of South Australia's Torrens Resilience Institute says more thought must be put into this relief effort. He adds, the well-meaning efforts of communities around the world result in an unmanageable influx of goods that disables more targeted disaster relief. The Senate is studying the creation of a 10 billion peso special fund for the victims of the super typhoon and the earthquake in Visayas last month. Senator Chis Escudero says there will be safeguards to ensure the fund won't be misused. He's referring to the 900 million peso Malampaya fund intended for typhoon victims in 2009. That fund was allegedly plundered in a series of scams. The planned safeguards include limitations on expenditures and realignment, reportorial requirements, and the participation of the Commission on Audit. Senate President Frank Drilon says he will ask Budget Secretary Butch Abad to submit a new budget proposal that will be turned into an amendment when the Senate tackles the budget. Besides the special fund, Escudero says Congress will also augment the 7.5 billion peso calamity fund of the Office of the President in 2014. Escudero says the Senate is studying a measure to ask financial institutions to declare a moratorium on payables of the victims in disaster-hit areas. Moving on to other news. At least 14 senators want their pork barrel allocation deleted from the 2014 budget, while 4 others want the funds realigned for their advocacies and aid for typhoon victims. Senators submit letters to Finance Committee Chair Chis Escudero stating their position on their Priority Development Assistance Fund allocation for 2014. Of 24 senators, at least 14 want to delete the 200 million pesos allocated to each of them. Other senators ask for the realignment or reallocation of their PDAF. In a caucus last month, senators agreed to take an individual stand on their PDAF allocation. Escudero says that for those who do not submit letters, the position of the House of Representatives will be adopted. The House wants to realign the PDAF to 4 government agencies. The senators who opted to delete their PDAF say they're responding to public outrage over the pork barrel scam. In the corruption scam, lawmakers allegedly channeled their funds to fake non-governmental organizations in exchange for kickbacks. But some of those who favored realignment criticized the senators who chose for the total deletion of the PDAF. Senator Sonny Trillanes says, "There's nothing noble about deleting the PDAF from the budget. It just shows they're more concerned about trying to please the media." Just days after Typhoon Yolanda left a trail of destruction across the Visayas, another weather disturbance enters the Philippine area of responsibility. State Weather Bureau Pagasa says Tropical Depression Zarida is located 634 kilometers southeast of Hinatuan, Surigao del Sur. It's forecast to move west-northwest, closer to the eastern seaboard of Mindanao. Storm signal number 1 is up over Dinagat, Siargao Island, Agusan del Norte, Agusan del Sur, Surigao del Norte, Surigao del Sur, Davao Oriental, Davao del Norte, Compostela Valley, Bukidnon, Misamis Oriental, Camiguin, Siquijor, Southern Cebu, Bohol, Negros Oriental, Negros Occidental, the southern part of Antique, Iloilo, and Guimaras. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 6, despite an intense 3-day diplomatic effort in Geneva, Iran and world powers failed to clinch a deal on Tehran's nuclear program. Hopes for an agreement increased after world diplomats rushed to join the talks. But France raised concerns the proposal did not go far enough to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions. Negotiations resume on November 20th. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif says he's not discouraged despite the failure of the talks. At number 7, Twitter's high-flying Wall Street debut drew attention to the growing power of social media, but it also raises fears about a potential bubble in the sector. Twitter shares surged some 73% on Thursday from the $26 opening price to close at $44.90. The opening day gains are reminiscent of the dot-com boom and bust of the late 1990s. Even some admirers of the popular microblogging site say outsized gains were unsustainable and investors should bail out. And at number 8, the lucrative Asian black market for rhino horn and ivory drives a boom in poaching across Africa. On November 9th, at least 3 Chinese nationals are charged in Tanzania for possessing 706 tusks from poached elephants worth an estimated $3.1 million. Police and wildlife officers cracked down on suspected poachers after a surge of killings of elephant and rhino in the East African nation. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Miss Philippines Ariela Arida finishes third runner-up in the 2013 Miss Universe Beauty Pageant early Sunday. Arida continues the winning performance of the last three representatives to the pageant. In 2012, Janine Tugonon was first runner-up. Shamsi Supsup was also landed third runner-up in 2011, while Venus Raj finished fourth runner-up in 2010. 25-year-old Venezuelan television presenter Gabriela Eisler takes home the Miss Universe crown in a glittering ceremony in Moscow. Coming off a loss back in April against Guillermo Rigondao, Nonito Donaire makes a successful return to the ring, beating Vic Daran via technical knockout in the 9th round. Facing Donaire for the second time, Daran was on his way to avenging his loss from their first match, with two judges scoring 78-76 in favor of the Armenian boxer. But Donaire finally finds a way to land a deadly left hook in the 9th round, knocking down Daran. Daran gets up, but Donaire makes sure he gets the win, finishing off the fight with a barrage of power shots. After the fight, Donaire says he wants a rematch against Rigondao. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page that crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected our readers and our viewers the most. If we take a look today, 4 days since the super typhoon hit, and you can see the overwhelming mood of the day. It is an unprecedented moment in the Philippines. You can see death toll of up to 10,000 feared dead and later. This has gotten the most number of reactions, most number of votes, 88% sad, 3% angry. The photos of Ground Zero, Giwan. This is the first time Haiyan or Typhoon Yolanda hit landfall Friday morning. Giwan, Eastern Samar, 87% sad. You can see the one bright moment was Ariela Arida, 68% happy in Miss Universe. But even this, the patch of green in the middle of the gray, is hashtag ReliefPH. Victims of Typhoon Yolanda need your help. 68% inspired. It is a list compiled by Rappler of all of the relief efforts for Typhoon Yolanda. But even then, you see 19% sad. Visit this page and take a look at how you can help the victims of Typhoon Yolanda. A gray, sad day today. Most people are sad. That is Rappler's Newscast for today, Monday, November 11th, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.